Okay, today we are playing a game on the Horizon Lunar Colony. We are playing Genji the entire way through, and this was in the mid-gold SR range. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, Orisa, Tracer, Genji, Ana, and Zenyatta. So, it's pretty awkward because we're defending and our two DPS are flankers. So, it's not impossible that this works out, but the problem is that our team is very low presence overall. So, unless us and the Tracer are going to pick people off really quickly and really consistently, the team's going to have a lot of trouble actually, defending, because we have pretty low overall presence. In a weird way, it kind of works out, because Ana and Zenyatta can just sit behind the shields all day, and they should be okay, largely. Unless they get dove on, in which case, well, they're kind of fucked, basically. Other reasons to be sad: team doesn't have a Mercy on it, that's very sad. Pretty sure this game could have had a Moira in it as well. Doesn't have a Moira on it. Also sad, you know. There's a few reasons to be sad, so let's start the game. So, hopefully this goes okay, because not to belabor you too much with my own, first world problems, but I was gonna record and do Moira Guide today. However, all of the footage I had recorded to put in the background ended up being super corrupted, so now I have to record more of that. Spent a while trying to get it to work, so now I'm super behind schedule, so I haven't actually even had time to watch this through ahead of time. Because I gotta record this, gotta edit everything still, it's terrible. So, hopefully this doesn't come out awful. It might, we'll see. Because usually I like to watch it through ahead of time so I know roughly what's gonna happen. We've got no clue, we're gonna do it live. So, enemy team's coming at us. They've got not a super heavy dive comp, because they're coming at us with a Reinhardt, a Roadhog rather, and a D.Va. We have gone in way too deep immediately. We've dashed over here with no hope of actually resetting the dash's cooldown. You are too loud. We've gone in with no hope of being able to reset our cooldown on the dash, and then we get hooked as well. So we've got no option to be killed, but to be killed. If you playing Genji, you gotta be pretty sure you're gonna get the dash cooldown reset, because otherwise you tend to just get killed, as we did right there. So our whole team is dead. There's, no way this works out. We shouldn't even really be trying to do this right now. We've dashed in again, with no hope of resetting the cooldown to fight over something that's already gone, so shouldn't be doing that. It's alright to kind of, hang out in the second room and poke at them from that position, because they have a pretty low chance of actually just killing you, unless Roadhog kills you, hooks you, and then just kills you straight up. But as long as you're paying attention to the Roadhog, that shouldn't happen. So it's okay to poke at them from that position, but we should definitely not be trying to fight from that position. So enemy team by this point probably getting pretty close to having their ultimates. Again, we've dashed in with pretty low hopes of actually getting the dash cooldown reset. So we're just sort of using our dash kinda whenever. Now we've got our ultimate, and we want to try and use it to kill the Mercy, but the Mercy is using Valkyrie right now, so it ends up being really difficult. You do have to, if you're using Dragon Blade specifically to try and kill Mercy, which is often why Dragon Blade is used to try and kill the supports, you know how Genji is. You do have to, when you're using Dragon Blade in general, you do have to plan out kind of what you're going to do with it, which is why I always recommend dash above them, pull out the sword, and then you can look at the enemy team as you're falling down and plan out roughly what you're going to do. Also makes it easier to nano boost you with an Ana, which also is relevant for our team. But if you're trying to kill the Mercy, you have to really think about it, because you have to think, okay, I have to make sure I can get to the Mercy, because she's probably going to dash away from me once, so I have to make sure I can get to her when she does so. And when she's using Valkyrie, it's even harder, because the GA goes mad fast when she's in Valkyrie, so you do have to, think about it ahead of time, can I get the Mercy when she dashes away from me? Because she is going to try. If I can't get the Mercy, can I kill somebody else nearby and then dash after the Mercy to keep after her? You do have to, plan these things out. Sometimes maybe if you're doing it specifically for the Mercy, you might want to just dash up to near the Mercy, pull out the blade. She's gonna run away from you on reflex, and then with the reset of drawing the Dragon Blade, you can chase after her. The moral is, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. the moral is, you have to plan out what you're going to do with Dragon Blade, especially if your main goal is to kill Mercy with it. Which it probably is. Because we don't want Mercy to live, really. So, now there Genji's got his Dragon Blade out, and that's really spooky, and he doesn't kill us with it, but, we're not long for the world, it looks like, from this position. He didn't get that much use out of his Dragon Blade either. Oof. That had potential to be, like, the sickest Earth Shatter ever, but he didn't quite pull it off. He's also alone, so it's also sad. So Roadhog's using Whole Hog right now. We can deflect some of that back at him, but unfortunately Roadhog, if he's paying attention, is going to stop shooting you, as he did in that position. Then we had to run away from self-destruct. We did manage to kill the Mercy because she stopped to revive their Genji in the middle of the point. So even though we died, that's a worthwhile trade because they've lost their main healer. Do they even have another healer? See, this is the issue with not having watched. Okay, they also have a Lucio, but they lost their main healer. Lucio is not going to be enough healing for their team. So even though we died, it was a worthwhile trade because we got the Mercy. She was probably going to die from that position anyway, because she was trying to res someone in the middle of the point, but we got her, so even if we die, it's worth it, because Genji for Mercy is a worthwhile trade. Especially when you're already having trouble winning. So we've dashed through D.Va. D.Va's a bad one to dash through, because you are very unlikely to reset your cooldown. Unless she's already out of her mech, in which case, yeah. If she's in her mech, it's probably not going to get you the cooldown reset, and again, we're playing really aggressively, and it's kind of hard to play Genji against their team, because there's another Genji who we typically don't want to deal with, because we're also playing Genji. Reaper we can fuck with, that's no problem. Winston's gonna make life difficult for us. Lucio is something that's just hard to deal with, just like hard to kill as Genji, because he's a squirrely guy. D.Va's not gonna kill you, but she's got a lot of hit points, so it's hard to kill her as Genji. So, really what we're looking at is we can kill Reaper, we can kill Mercy, and we can maybe kill Lucio, but that one's gonna be hard. So, there's not that many things. It's hard to play Genji against that team. Changing to Reaper would be a lot better, because Reaper versus Reaper is basically just, like, skill matchup. But Reaper, like, will wreck Winston and D.Va. So, Reaper would be better in this situation, or like Roadhog or something like that as well for similar reasons, plus he's good against Genji. It's hard to play Genji versus that team comp, but I know you're on a Smurf, and the idea is basically to learn Genji. It's hard to play Genji against this team, so it's just going to naturally be a struggle, because there aren't that many things Genji is good at killing on that team. They're not necessarily going to kill you, because, like, the only one that really kills you is Winston, but it's going to be pretty difficult for us to, like, get much work done. So we're being pretty aggressive right now, but we've got our dash up. We fucked up and dashed right into the wall, but it was very difficult to get punished for that, because we had our dash up, so it's okay. Especially seeing as, like, there's just D.Va and 2 supports around, not super likely to die. Dashed in after the Mercy, killed the Mercy. Great, dashed, killed her. Then we dashed again. What did we use? We dashed through D.Va while she's still in the mech, and then because we don't reset the dash, we can't get away when we actually end up in trouble. Risky to dash through most tanks, because it can be difficult to kill tanks in position. Like, even if you think you're gonna kill a Winston, maybe you dash through the Winston and he just uses Primal Rage, and you're like, oh fuck. Roadhog can, like, use Take a Breather, and you're like, oh fuck, right? Like, but D.Va's in her mech, she has to at least come out of the mech, and then you have to cut her again, and you have to cut her twice, because if you can't dash through her when she comes out of the mech, you're not just gonna kill her in one swing. So, because we don't think about how we're gonna get the reset off that when we end up getting punished for it, a lot of playing Genji is, because the thing is with Genji, well, every hero, is you don't want to die. A lot of not dying with Genji comes down to not wasting your cooldowns, basically. And if you end up not getting the reset on the dash, it ends up being pretty sad. Don't recommend doing this kind of play. That's kind of like, just like deflect some shots into the enemy team. Because the enemy team can, like, really punish you for that, especially if they have a Roadhog, which they used to, they don't now. or a McCree if you try and make this sort of play, because then the Roadhog just waits until you're about to be out of deflect and then hooks you as soon as it ends. McCree just throws the flashbang next to you. If they've got, like, Winston Moira, kind of like we see here, then, well, they don't have a Moira, but they got a Winston. They can just get you through the deflect, and then they can end up killing you as well, so I'm not a big fan of that kind of play. Unless you're deflecting something a little bit more long range, maybe you're just, like, stand out in front of your Reinhardt shield a little bit and deflect, like, missiles back into them. Okay, but, like, that's really close and really easy to get punished for. It's not like I think you're gonna get punished in this specific circumstance, because obviously they don't have a Roadhog or a McCree right now, but it's something you can be punished for, making that kind of maneuver. So now when I'm playing Roadhog and I see a Genji do that, I'm just like, alright. You just wait until just before the deflect ends, because the hook has a bit of travel time to it, and then you get it as soon as the deflect ends, and he can't dash away in time. McCree, it's, like, really easy. So, can get punished for it. So we're really low HP right now, which is really scary. Zenyatta's healing us, but that takes a while to kick in. It's okay. Their team can't really kill us from afar away very easily. That's very spooky. He ended up not getting very much done with that one. Here's Mercy. We're going in really low HP right now. No one's really near the Mercy, so we're getting away with it, but, like, dashing forward on 24 HP is not really what you want to be doing. Would have been, we were pretty close to the Moonlander at the time. Could have gone over and gotten that health kit really quickly and then dashed over to the Mercy. Because the thing is, if you're dashing in at 24 HP, the Mercy could just go bonk and you'll die. So you don't want to be going in aggressively as anyone really when you're like half HP, especially not when you're like bonk range. You know, maybe not even bonk. Like, the Mercy just shoots you once, you're gonna be like, oh fuck, God, why? That was really embarrassing. Going in aggressively on flankers when you're low HP, really risky. Don't recommend. Could have tried to get a health kit first, could have just sat back and, like, poked with shurikens a little bit more while you wait to get healed, but, like, going in, really risky. So we've almost got a Dragon Blade right now, which is pretty cool, because Dragon Blade's one of the best ultimates in the game, so it's very nice to have it up. Worth noting that Dragon Blade is quite easy to build versus their team, mostly because they have a D.Va, who is, in many cases, an ult battery, especially for someone like Genji. And their team, it's difficult for their team to kill us, so farming D.Va for ult charge is not that difficult for us to do. We can kind of position pretty aggressively to do so, because as long as we don't waste our cooldowns, we should always be able to get away. So, even though their team is difficult for us to kill, they have a D.Va, and it's difficult for them to punish us, so we can build up Dragon Blade pretty consistently versus their team. And, basically, if there's not much for us to be doing, we should be trying to bully around the D.Va just to build ult charge. So, it's really hard for Reaper to kill Genji, because he has to get, like, a really good meat shot into you to actually kill you. So, even though that's kinda... It's risky to fight Reaper in a confined location, but as long as if you make the call that the Reaper isn't probably not good enough to kill you very consistently, yeah, you'll probably get away with it. If a play that revolves around the enemy team doing misplaying is a bad play, typically, but, this Reaper so far hasn't really been doing very much, so, actually, he hasn't really done very much of anything, now that I think about it, so, by this point, we could kind of assume, if we get into a scuffle with him and we're playing Genji, he's probably not gonna one-tap me, you know? So we can kind of get away with that one pretty easily. And again, you can always just leave, like Reaper doesn't have very many options to keep you there. So here comes the Nano Blade, and we don't really think about what we're gonna do with it. We just kind of come out, and we end up not getting a lot done with it, but we've gotten enough done with it, especially seeing as they didn't actually have a full team when this fight started, so we killed one person and D.Va's mech. Could have killed Mercy with it, probably, even though she was using Valkyrie, because this is a relatively confined location, and if you're nano-bladed, it's really easy to kill Mercy even though she's in Valkyrie, so we should have probably been looking more actively for her, even though she was in Valkyrie. So Zenyatta's ended up wasting Transcendence. That feels really bad for him. He didn't like that one very much, I'll bet. Yeah, could have probably killed Mercy in that situation if we were focusing on her a bit more. Would have been difficult still, because she was in Valkyrie, but it's easier when you're nano-boosted. So, we've dashed through the Junkrat that we have very little chance of killing and getting the reset off, and we were low HP when we did that as well, so wouldn't recommend that one, either. Gotta be really careful when you dash. So, them having a Junkrat now makes it significantly more difficult for us to actually do stuff as Genji, because even though you would imagine, like, conventional wisdom is flankers are good against Junkrat. No, not when, now that he has 2 charges of his mind, not so much, because it's just like Genji or Tracer comes at you and you're like, fuck off, now you're dead. Or he can always just be like, he will always be like, nope, don't want to do this anymore, and he can just always leave, so, if he doesn't just kill you. So, them having a Junkrat makes it pretty difficult as Genji. Projectiles are very easy to predict and deflect, but because he always has the concussion mime, you have to be really careful when you approach a Junkrat, because it can be very easy to just suddenly die. Plus, also, his tire will make us pretty sad as Genji. It's pretty hard to deal with the tire. So we've dashed into them again, with no hope of resetting the cooldown off that one. And then we're just in the middle of a bunch of people that we can't even really deflect. So we just end up getting killed. Not to sound like a broken record or anything, but we dash cooldown, reset, pretty important. So we've almost got Dragon Blade. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it fast enough to benefit from the bongo. However, Transcendence is happening while we're doing it at least, so there's not much hope of us dying. It's very, again, not particularly planned out, just sort of dash right through the center of them, and then we're like, oh, fuck, oh, what am I going to do? Oh, I ended up getting the Lucio and then dashed right into the floor after I killed him. So, sloppy, like, execution-wise, and, again, not very planned out, kind of like trying to figure out in the moment, like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do, what am I gonna do? Which you don't really want to be doing as Genji. We've been nano boosted while we don't have Dragon Blade, which is sad, but we can just kind of run after the Winston at least, and he's not gonna kill us, and we're gonna do a lot of damage. Reasonable to assume the dash might kill the Mercy in that position, not gonna get punished for it because we're like in the middle of our own team, so it's cool. We actually killed someone, I didn't even know Lucio was there, but he ended up dying instead of the Mercy, but then we got the Mercy as well. Okay, all worked out, great. So, they didn't quite capture the point. Got to 89%, which is a lot, you know, it's not unimaginable they win off of this. The remaining time on this replay is not very long. So we either don't capture the first point, or we capture both points really quickly. Or one point, like, slowly, and then the other point quickly, I suppose, because it definitely doesn't go the full 8 minutes. Okay, so, don't know what our team is right now. Wasn't, I think it's basically the same. I wasn't paying, no, we got a Zarya, okay, so, wasn't really paying attention to that part. Oh god, it's significantly harder when you haven't watched it through the first time, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Makes leading into things quite difficult. If you can imagine, if you can believe it, I do actually put some thought into these videos ahead of time. I don't sit and, like, script the whole thing out, because that would sound really boring, basically, and I'm trying to be kinda entertaining at the same time. But, I do like to at least watch it through ahead of time and be like, alright, so that's what happens. Oh, that was sad, and then I know it's coming. Don't know what's coming here. Alright, so we've got Roadhog and Zarya. As our tanks. Who's our other DPS? It's not really important. We're playing Genji. We're a pretty independent hero. So this guy nearly dead. We could have killed him in that position. We get really thirsty for it. Okay, McCree's our other DPS. So we could have killed this dude. I didn't even know he was this low ahead of time. So we could have killed him, we just didn't quite execute it correctly, and then we end up in there with no cooldowns, and Hanzo's just like, easy. So, we could have done that. It's really thirsty and really greedy, but if we actually, like, executed a little bit better, we get away with it, because we could have dashed out again. Okay, so, their team, that's really annoying. However, they don't have a shield for Bastion, which makes it pretty easy for us as Genji. Because if we can figure out where Bastion is, we can just sort of sit in the nearby area and just, like, poke at him, and they can't block it, right? So, if we get into a position that we can hit Bastion, we'll force him to move, basically. Like, we probably won't kill him, because he's probably going to be getting pocketed by Mercy, and his team might come back to help him, but because Bastion doesn't have a shield, we have, like, a decent chance of actually killing him as, Genji. Because Genji doesn't counter Bastion that well, unless the Bastion is awful and kills himself on you. Widowmaker's actually really good, in this situation, because they don't have a shield for Bastion. So Widowmaker can probably kill the Bastion relatively easily, or at least force him to move again. If you're forcing Bastion to get up and move frequently, you're not quite countering Bastion, because you're not killing him, but you are, like, countering him you're, like, soft countering him, because he isn't getting to sit around and do what he wants to do. Also Hanzo, like, traditional, conventional wisdom is that Genji is good against Hanzo. The thing is, Hanzo can still just, like, one-shot you with, RNG, or if he's got his arrow ready, his scatter skill ready, so... See, because they don't have a shield for Bastion, though, in this kind of situation, we're a projectile hero. We can just poke and peek the corner over and over again, and Bastion can't really do anything about it. So, that's, like, a good situation for us. We've almost got Dragon Blade. We do have to be really careful how we use Dragon Blade versus that team, because they have a Bastion. They also have a Roadhog, right? Yeah, they have a Roadhog as well, so... If we use Dragon Blade poorly, we will end up not getting anything done. Really optimistic dash. Alright, Bastion's not sitting down at the time, so we kind of get away with that. We do sort of come around the corner already set to make this play, like, without really knowing what the situation is on the point. So it's risky, because if Bastion's already buckled down and ready for us when we come around the corner, we're going to be really sad about that one. He wasn't. However, we also didn't kill the Mercy with it. Because we didn't kill Mercy, the person we do kill is just going to get rezzed again because she was in Valkyrie. This is the thing with using ultimates like Dragon Blade with Mercy around. If she hasn't used res in the last few seconds, well, the last 30 seconds, but then she can just undo whatever you did. So, and if she has Valkyrie, she always will be able to undo at least one kill, but if you get another kill, it's kind of okay. But, if you're just gonna pick somebody off and you can't kill the Mercy, or you don't have, like, really good follow-up, the Mercy's just gonna res them, and then you're gonna have committed an ultimate to it, and she's just gonna undo what you did, and then that's what makes Mercy really strong, is... If the enemy overcommits ultimates into not super favorable positions, then she ends up just being able to undo it, and we end up being pretty sad about it, so don't do that. Unless the Bastion is awful, that's not gonna work. It's a very optimistic play. We were in a bad position, though. So if we're gonna use Dragon Blade, and we can't kill Mercy, it's, like, we have to make sure we're gonna kill a few other people, basically, because... If we just kill one person, she'll definitely undo it. Unless we just saw her use both charges of res, in which case, then I guess she can't. That's worth noting, is that, like, if you're using Dragon Blade or something, and or if you have Dragon Blade and you've just seen Mercy use both charges of res, it's not that hard to kill someone through Valkyrie healing with Dragon Blade, because Dragon Blade does a lot of fucking damage, as it turns out. So, if you've seen her use both charges of res, you can still get work done even if she's in Valkyrie, because she's not going to get the cooldown back for 30 seconds. So if you kill someone, she's really upset about that one, because she already used both charges of res. So there's that, but if she hasn't just used both charges, and we use our ultimates for it, she's probably just going to negate our ultimate completely, if we don't kill her. This is like the thing with flankers, is that they obviously have a really high mechanical skill requirement. Like, none of the flankers are easy to play. Reaper's, like, the easiest one to play, but even he has, like, some mechanical difficulty associated with him. But then, they also, you have to have a plan. You have to really know what you're doing. Especially, like, as Genji or Reaper, because they have to commit cooldowns to kill people. So if you use those cooldowns frivolously, you just end up being fucked. Like, Tracer can kind of wing it, because Tracer is really mobile. So she can sort of wing it and get by without so much of a thought out plan. Genji and Reaper have to commit cooldowns, so you have to, like, know what you're gonna do. You have to know who you're trying to kill. You have to know how you're gonna do it. And then you also need to know what you're going to do if you fuck it up. Because you can have it all planned out, sometimes you're just going to fuck it up. And if you fuck it up and you got no contingency plan, well, shit. Pretty fucked. Like, super fucked in that case. You're already fucked, so then if you don't have a contingency plan and you fuck it up, you're super fucked. So, there's a mechanical skill requirement for flankers, but then you also need to know what you're doing. And this is why, you know, we watch the Tracer and the Genji players not get anything done. Or the Sombra players as well. Like, they might be great mechanically, like, you could be the best mechanical player in the world. If you don't think about what you're doing, it's not gonna matter, right? Like, I've seen a lot of people who are using aimbots still lose the game because, yeah, alright, cannot fail mechanically anymore, but if you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't matter, because you can still lose. Like, if you just don't know how to position, it doesn't matter if you're using an aimbot, you're just gonna get killed, and then you can't use your aimbot if you got killed. You're like, yeah, it's a big bonus, obviously, if you've got an aimbot, because suddenly, no, mechanical skill, not a requirement anymore. I've seen a lot of people who are, like, very obviously using aimbots, and they still lost, because they just didn't know how to play the game on, like, a very base level. So, planning is important. You need to know what you're gonna do as a flanker, because you have to actually, like, especially as Genji, who has to plan things out, he has to commit cooldowns. So, that's like free money right there. Like, this Bastion gets tranked right in front of us. We end up having to reload, is like the biggest issue in here. We start reloading, then we just melee too quickly, so we don't actually get the shurikens in his head. If we get the shurikens in his head, he's dead. So now, he's gotten back up, they're all using ultimates, even though we have Dragon Blade, we're losing people, so now we have to back out anyway. Someone over there is belaboring their death, and this is a terrible time to do so, because we have only got 30 seconds left on the clock. So this is a really bad time to be staggered, because we've only got one fight left in us, and Zenyatta's just died right before the fight starts. We're playing too aggressively right now, like, 2 people on our team are dead right now, and we've only got one fight left in us. Like, we need to wait for as long as possible, because we need those people to be as close to the fight as possible, so that we can actually fight with them, hopefully. But they get picked off, then we get picked off right before the final fight, and it's just a stacking effect. So that went fairly poorly overall. This fucking fly. So we got play of the game. This is the one, like, this is the kind of play of the game where you go, alright, okay. The other one would have been better. That is quite a bit of damage for Genji, actually. Like, I mean, it's okay, it's good. It's better than a lot of Genji players will put up, especially in gold. So, yeah, biggest thing that stands out, I mean, you said it in the email as well, that you, dash in and get killed a lot, and that's basically why you lose the first point. Yeah, I mean, it would have been hard to defend the first point anyway, but that certainly didn't help. Like, there's a lot of not planning things out, basically, and a lot of just being really aggressive and dashing in preemptively, not being able to get their cooldown and dying as a result. A lot of planning has to go into it. You know, we've talked about, I'm gonna sound like a completely fucking broken record, because we've already talked about this like 8 times throughout the video, so I'm not gonna belabor the point anymore. Yeah, too aggressive, not planning things out, basically. I'm pretty sure the reason for this account even existing is just to get better at Genji, but also, like, Genji's not very good against that team comp. Reaper or Roadhog would have been a lot better. So, if we're looking at it from that angle as well, switching would have been better, but I'm pretty sure the point is to get better at Genji. So, yeah. Dashing, planning, blah blah blah. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful. God, that was terrible. God, always watch it through first. Don't ad-lib it. It feels terrible.